Okay, so when you hear the name Sao Paulo, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's probably a skyline that just seems to go on forever. But we're not going to do a tourist guide today. Instead, we're going to dig into Sao Paulo as this incredible case study in pure, relentless urban momentum, a city that's really defined by its constant, churning motion. And this quote right here, it just gets to the absolute heart of it. This is the core idea we're unpacking. So forget any ideas about picturesque avenues or master plan parks. The actual DNA of Sao Paulo, what makes it tick, is all about labor, productivity, and the daily grind. You see, these are the forces that literally forge this metropolis. It's this massive, ongoing collision between the raw, basic need to survive and this incredibly powerful ambition to get ahead. And it's that tension right there that fuels the city's nonstop energy. So if you really want to understand São Paulo, you have to start with the people who built it. See, the city's story isn't about one single unified group. No, it's a story of constant arrivals, one wave of people after another. And you can see this incredible layering effect right here. You had waves of European and Japanese immigrants, then this massive influx of Brazilians from other parts of the country, and, it just keeps going today. The result is a city that grows by just adding more and more layers without any single identity ever really taking over. And this just nails the consequence of all those arrivals. The city wasn't laid out with a ruler on a map. It grew organically, almost reactively. People were just pulled in by the promise of work, faster than any urban planner could ever keep up. It was basically a race for space, a practical occupation driven by pure economic necessity. Okay, so what does a city that's built on constant arrival actually look and feel like on the ground? Well, that kind of explosive, unplanned growth, it leaves a massive physical footprint. Let's just start with a number that's almost hard to wrap your head around. 20 million people. That immense scale is the backdrop for literally everything else. It dictates the pace, the pressure, the entire structure of daily life. And with that kind of scale, you get this overwhelming feeling of endlessness. The city doesn't have clean, clear edges. It just keeps on going, fading into itself like a vast urban ocean. So naturally, when you try to move millions of people through that kind of sprawl, you get constant traffic. And it's not just an inconvenience. It's a fundamental part of the city's rhythm. It's like a daily tax on your time and your energy. And all of this puts every single essential system, we're talking water, power, transport, under this insane amount of pressure. The city's infrastructure is pretty much always operating at its absolute limit. So the really crucial point here is that sprawl isn't just a geographic term. It actively shapes your human experience. It chops up your day, stretches your commute into hours, and it creates this sense of distance that's not just physical but social too. I love this phrase because it captures the city's precarious balance so perfectly. It works. Day in and day out, it functions, but just barely. It's a city that survives, not through perfect, optimized systems, but through constant improvisation, patching holes as soon as they appear. All right, let's switch gears and look at the engine that drives all of this, the economy. Sao Paulo is, without a doubt, the economic heart of Brazil. It's a total powerhouse. But here's the thing. It's an engine with two very different and deeply divided parts. So, on one hand, you have the world of global capital. Gleaming corporate towers, high finance, big tech, and industry. But running right alongside it, often on the very same streets, is the survival economy. This is informal vendors, small workshops, and just people doing whatever it takes to make it to the next day. And this, right here, might be the single most critical thing to understand about Sao Paulo's social fabric. You can have the most extreme wealth and the most extreme poverty, separated by nothing more than a wall or highway. The city is physically all tangled up together, but socially, it's segregated in the extreme. So what happens when you have this intense economic pressure cooker? You get a culture where the grind is just relentless. The city's incredible productivity is fueled by a workforce that is always in motion. The pace is exhausting, and for so many people, stopping just isn't an option. Which leads to a really fascinating question, right? If a city is basically a machine, built purely for work, for pressure, for survival, where do people find its soul? How do you create a life that feels like more than just a grind? And the answer, maybe surprisingly, is in the city's absolutely incredible cultural vibrancy. But here,
Culture isn't some luxury item. It's a necessary response to the city's harsh realities. It's a form of survival.
Yeah, in São Paulo, culture is an act of defiance. It's not just some pretty decoration on the side. It's resistance. Resistance against the gray concrete, against the anonymity of the crowd, and against those daily pressures. It's how people carve out a space for themselves and claim their humanity. And you see this resistance bursting out everywhere. It's in the explosive energy of its music and its nightlife, the incredible street art that turns dull walls into masterpieces, the amazing diversity of its food scene, the fashion, even in protest. These aren't just amenities. They are the actual lifeblood of the city, filling in all the gaps left by broken systems. So after getting a handle on its past and its present, we're left with this one massive question. What does the future possibly hold for a city that is always pushing its own limits? These are the huge, urgent questions facing São Paulo right now. I mean, can the infrastructure ever hope to catch up? Can a city this divided ever become more equal? Can anyone even govern a place on this scale? These are just monumental challenges. And that leaves us with this final, really powerful thought. A city like São Paulo doesn't just break under all that pressure, it stretches. It adapts, it contorts, it finds a way to endure, but the strain is always there. And the question isn't just for São Paulo, it's for megacities everywhere. At what point does a city stretch so far that it becomes something new entirely? And is that something we're prepared for?